My name is Kristian and this is Exit Depression 02. And today we will talk about nutrition. And you might ask, in what way is nutrition relevant to me when I struggle with depression? And the answer to that is that all of you, all of the molecules of the cells in your body are built up by nutrients that you get from what you eat and what you drink. And some very important molecules to you when you struggle with depression are neurotransmitters and hormones, which are chemicals or molecules that make up your emotions. Then I talk about, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and many other substances that are very important for your mood. Now, in order to have the right body chemistry, to have the right mix of these neurotransmitters and hormones, you need to make sure that the body has the availability of the right nutrients. And if today you don't eat really healthy, if you eat a lot of fast food, for example, if you don't eat any vegetables at all, if you eat too much sugar, you're not giving your body the chance to balance out these different molecules. And that's an illustration. Think of the movie Super Size Me. It's a documentary made by Morgan Spurlock, in which he ate only fast food for a month. That was an experiment. He wanted to see what happened to his body and also to his mood after eating only fast food, so fries and burgers for 30 days. And it really went badly for him. His body kind of collapsed, and also his mood kind of collapsed. So he had severe mood swings, he had depression, and it's a really interesting film to see, so you should get a copy if you can. Another thing which is really important when it comes to diet and mood is blood sugar. And you want to have a diet that stabilizes your blood sugar throughout the day. A lot of people, they get very cranky and they get in a bad mood whenever they have low blood sugar. I'm definitely an example. But I've needed to control my diet to avoid being cranky because I hate being cranky. And so let's say it's 4 p.m. Maybe you had to skip lunch because you had a busy day and your blood sugar is really, really low. So the normal thing for many people, including myself, would then be to get a big candy bar and eat it straight down. And what happens is your blood sugar then spikes. The body will release a hormone called insulin, which is then going to get the blood sugar down again. The problem with this is that it can set in motion an oscillation of blood sugar. So you get a low, you eat something sweet, you get a spike, insulin kicks in and gets it down again, and then you have it going. So in order to avoid that kind of oscillation of blood sugar, you want to eat foods which will be gradually absorbed by the body. Now, what you can do to stabilize your blood sugar is to use a tool called the glycemic index. And what you should do is just to Google glycemic index and food. And then you get a table which will give you different foodstuffs and the glycemic index of those foodstuffs. What you want to do is to avoid those with a high glycemic index, or GI in short, and get as much as possible of those foods which have a lower glycemic index. And the foods with a low glycemic index would be then like whole grain cereals, dark breads, whole grain pasta, vegetables, of course, that would be the best of all, nuts, healthy fats, meats, fish, so you can definitely eat a lot of different things and stabilize your blood sugar. And you want to simply avoid stuff and food which is sweet, because they generally have a high GI. So what do you do if today you don't have the best diet and you know that you need to change it in order to support a better mood? If you recall the first video, the introduction video of Exit Depression, one of the principles is that you need to divide this project into many small steps and you take one by one. So it's not going to be feasible for you to completely change your diet overnight, and so that you go from having a not so good diet and eating only vegetables, for example. But what you do is you gradually change your diet. You gradually phase in more and more vegetables, because vegetables is the only food that you can really eat as much as you want, and it's only good for your health. And that is something of an acquired taste. You know, some people don't really like vegetables, and they think it's bland, that it's boring. One way to achieve that is by making a smoothie with a lot of vegetables. I will post a recipe at the end of this video. It's a smoothie that contains spinach and broccoli, and that sounds really gross, but believe me, it is actually very good, and it's surprisingly sweet. So that is one good way for you to get more vegetables every day. Another thing which is a good trick is to have all the time with you a small bag of nuts. And the reason for that is that nuts, I think, is the most healthy food you can eat, because it contains basically all the nutrients that you need. You have phytochemicals, you have proteins, all the proteins you need, you have healthy fats, you have omega-3 fatty acid, and so that's why if you can have a bag of unsalted nuts, is the best. If you have to have salt, that's okay, but unsalted nuts with you all the time. And whenever you feel that you have a low blood sugar and you need to eat something, you just take a small handful of nuts. And that's one way to kind of stabilize your blood sugar, so that you don't get the low blood sugar, which is going to get you to crave something sweet. Because when you get into that kind of oscillation of the blood sugar, where you get the low blood sugar, you eat something which is sweet, and then it goes straight up, it's not going to be supporting a good mood. So, gradually phase in a better diet over time, eat more veggies, use the smoothie recipe at the end of this video, and just remember, I mean, you do have all the time in the world, so you can do this slowly and at your own tempo. Good luck. Thanks.